I'm Tamara Weens. I'm 52 years old. I've got 4 kids and a grandson, just born in December. I would describe myself as a queer trans woman.
My name is Orlando Blacksmith. I'm 24. I'm a student at the University of Ottawa in the Digital Journalism program. I'm First Nations Cree. I'm Indigenous. I'm from a small little community called the Swampy in very rural Quebec. When I grew up in this community, if we're talking about my queer identity, for example, I grew up in this community. It's very behind the times. They still are wow, oh no, the gays, right? They're coming for us. Growing up, I was very much like a boy, because everyone was like, oh, that's gay, blah blah blah. What are you, gay? All the time, I was like, no, you're gay. I'm not gay. So I didn't actually come to realize my own sexual identity essentially until I came to Ottawa when I was maybe 20, 21.
So I'm Alex Tetro. I'm 28 years old. I identify as transgender. I'm a trans man.
So I'm Ryan Lewis. I'm 25. I'm from a small town just outside of Ottawa. I've lived here for about 3 years now. I guess if I had to label myself, I would just use queer as a label. I just it's more of a broad term.
I've been in transition for about 6 years. I did lose employment because of being trans. I lost my partner through that. I lost my family for a while because of my transition. But all that said, it's been, I count myself very lucky.
There was a big part of me missing when I was a kid. I was not really proud of who I was at the time. But I did some growing up, I matured a little bit, and when I came to the city, everything started kind of falling into place. Things started clicking, I started to realize things, and yeah, so now in 2019, I'm my best queer self, right?
So I first started kind of identifying with the queer community, I guess, early on in high school. But I went to high school in a very, very small town, so I wasn't super open about it or anything. I shouldn't say that, that's not true. Moving to Ottawa though, and just being in more of a diverse environment and community, I've really just that. I'm more open with myself and true to myself now.
You see things on TV, you see the movies. Even some friends of mine didn't necessarily have an easy time coming out, and they've got their horror stories going of how their parents felt, their family, their friends, other than us as friends. It's a shame. It's sad. It really shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way at all. So I won't lie, sometimes I feel a little bad that it just did kind of happen to be so easy for me, because I felt like I should have had some struggle, but I'm happy it turned out that way.
The places I need to be active are in my workplace, with my clients, with my suppliers. I mean, my activism isn't standing up on stage, it's talking in small groups, doing videos, being open on my Facebook page, for example, and being an out trans queer person.
Ottawa is probably one of the best places to be, actually, if you're in the community. We're just we're a tight-knit community, and that's the best feeling ever, because you get to just talk to each other open, freely. There's no judgment. You don't have to worry about that stuff so much in the community. It's nice. It's really nice.
There are queer events, there's local businesses, maybe Venus Envy, right? They're very queer friendly. Little Joe Berry's, right? They're very queer friendly, things like this. But otherwise, if we're talking about queer community, I would say that's more of a social media thing in that sense. Because Instagram and stuff and positivity, these type of things are very social media based.
So grandma talking here about how much things have changed. I first recognized that there was something different about me when I was 16. That was in the early 80s. There was nothing. And that made it really difficult. I didn't even have a label for myself for years. In fact, it wasn't until I fully came out to myself that I really had a label to apply to myself. So obviously the rise of the internet has given access to people who don't know what they are, don't know how to describe themselves, don't understand what's happening with their desires or their self-image and so on, and they have resources that they can look at that they never had access to before.
Social media is great in the sense of it's connecting people all over the world. So you get people from different countries and you see how they're living, what they're up to. There is a downside to it though. I mean, it's social media, everybody can see what you're doing, and again, there's still a lot of hate, and you will get internet trolls and people coming at you for virtually nothing, but it's what they consider to be something, I guess. They've got just, I don't know, a chip on their shoulder.
Social media is like a great tool to like kind of like put yourself out there and like kind of, I guess in a way, kind of be more authentic to yourself. Like obviously like you filter the crap out of yourself on social media, but just like in person, like at my place of work in our part, like I could never get away with this, but like whereas like social media, it's like I put this on social media and people are like, my first thought was yes queen, which I guess is appropriate.
I think that it's seeing the real thing and not the transparent dramatization or any of those other ones where you're using a cis actor to play a trans character for a cis audience. And that's one of the reasons why the mass media stuff, the traditional media stuff, the movies and TV shows and so on fail so much because they're going for ratings, they're going for box office, they're going for the shock and awe aspects of queer identities. And my life is not, my life is, yawn. I'm really, really boring. I have so much more in common with the receptionist who's my age and also has a new grandson. My life looks much more like hers than it does with anything else.
So I guess just like my biggest issue with like mass media and just like queer people will say in film and like music. Let's talk Katy Perry for example. That's the first thing that comes to mind. She's looked at as like this big gay icon, yet let's look at lyrics in like songs like You're So Gay, where she says, I hope you hang yourself with your H&M scarf while something kind of racy. But anyway, and like it's kind of like the same thing in film, like, well not the same thing, but just in film, I swear to God, if I see one more sassy gay friend character that's there for the sake of comedy and there's no substance to the character or anything, I swear to God.
For social media, I feel like, for me at least, I can be much more open with myself. I can really show people like who I am, or tidbits of my life. And for me at least, at the very least, it's like an Instagram thing. I think, well, Instagram's very popular, but I think for me, when it comes to Facebook, because most people on my Facebook are friends, family, or people from a reserve, and I'm not like, it's not that I'm like closeted or I'm hiding it or anything, it's just like I'm not out with it. I don't just tell people I'm queer all the time, right? For Facebook, it's because everyone from my community is on my Facebook. My mom is on my Facebook, right? My fucking aunt is on my Facebook. Like I have some like elders on my Facebook, like these type of things, and they would not agree with my lifestyle choices. They wouldn't really support me, and maybe they would even kind of hate me for the fact that I am queer. I don't know, I really think about it and I'm like, wow, this is a weird duality where I'm like, I'm not that I'm hiding it, it's just like, I'm not telling people it. If they find out, if they know, then it's whatever, right? Like a lot of my friends in my community are on my Instagram, so they know, because I post queer family things. You know, I was at Pride. I post pictures at Pride, like with my roommate and a friend of mine.
But social media also gives us an opportunity to be more visible in the world at large. But I think that we've got to be careful not to overstate the impact that has. You're not going to convert someone through your social media activities. If someone's a hater, posting whatever facts, whatever memes, whatever videos you like about who you are and why their hate hurts you, it's not going to change them from being haters, which doesn't invalidate the use of social media. It just means that you need to have different expectations of what your social media activism is going to do.
Politics, not fantastic, not a fan. A lot of people use it in a really negative way. I don't like that, the whole conservatives, liberals, Democrats, whatever. I've noticed that's a big play in everything though. I see it online all the time, I see it in the news, that's all I see now is just politicians talking about whether, we should be accepted into the entirety of the world, or whether we should be banned, or this, that. Like, there's always something legal to it. Just let us live. That's really all it is. Just let us be who we are. We don't hurt anybody. We're just everyday people. I mean, I work at Shoppers Drug Mart. That's where I work. I'm a cashier.
I guess just for me personally, I like social media because, I'm able to be, my authentic self. Obviously living in Ottawa, I'm much more myself than I was in a small town, but, I just like that you get to see that more authentic side of me personally, and, but it's, in person, it's, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get, some kind of, stares or funny looks or comments in person, but, social media, it's, if someone doesn't like it, they can just...
But, it was different for our parents, it was different for our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and they did have to come out, if they were going to come out face-to-face and pretty publicly. Now it's just so much easier to talk to somebody, and they need to keep it up, keep building websites, keep, making pages, and I mean, we're not scary, I promise you. We're not scary, we don't bite unless you ask us to. We're just everyday people, just like you.
I'm happy with how things are turning out. And I'm very, not happy, but happy is strong, but appreciative, I guess, of the people I met and the people who kind of eased me into it. And even though I knew there was nothing wrong with being gay, people who were like, well, it's fine if there's nothing wrong with that, that's just you, right? People are just gay sometimes, it happens, right? Not to play it down or anything, of course, but even though I knew it, hearing it in my head was just in my head. Hearing it in person just helped me reinforce these thoughts I had in my head, right? So even though I was yeah, of course there's nothing wrong with being gay, of course there's gay people, it's duh, obviously. But then when I heard someone say it to me, it just really was yeah, it's fine, I'm gay.